Hello Orchid friends, welcome back to my channel. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day, staying healthy and staying safe. Today we're looking at one of my largest Phalaenopsis orchid, Phalaenopsis Sesame. This one obviously is a grocery store Phalaenopsis, and it's my largest one actually in my collection. I have seen this cross in a medium size form, but I got this one first, so I never wanted to get the smaller one. But if I had seen the smaller one, the medium one, or even the miniature one first, I would have purchased them instead of this larger one. My personal preference is I like medium-sized, smaller-sized orchids because they don't take up as much space. And for my growing, my environment, I have a very dedicated space for orchids, and that is my sunroom. So it's not like what a lot of my friends think, that I just live in an orchid jungle. My house is just orchids all over. No, that's not it. I can guarantee you that. My sunroom is the only place that I have orchids around the house because I refuse to live in an orchid jungle. As much as I love them, I love myself more, and I want to make sure that my house is clean and every place has a purpose to it. Enough of that. So for this orchid, it's large, so I put it pretty much on the top of a bookshelf inside of my sunroom. It's too large to be placed on the growing rack, the growth rack that most of my orchids are on, so it receives adequate sunlight but not too much. And so far, it seems to be doing just fine because I think during the day, this orchid only receives indirect sunlight. There's never any direct sunlight because it's high. It's almost as high as my windows, so it doesn't have that direct sunlight from the windows. But in the evenings, because I do have grow lights on the ceilings, I have 6 different LED light bulbs on the ceilings, and I turn them on around 5:30 my time, and then I would turn them off around 9 or 10 whenever I decide that it's time for me to get ready for bed. Then I think that's the time that this orchid is receiving most light. Actually, it's in the evening time. And as it was growing the spike, I wanted to train it so that it would grow upward and not pendant toward the light source, because I didn't want this orchid to take up too much horizontal space, and also just for better display too, because I know I wanted to make a video on this orchid's bloom, and if it's pendant, it's just sometimes adds complexity for when I am making videos or taking pictures. So I much rather for this orchid to grow its spike upward. So what I did is I used the twist tie to train this orchid's spike, even though there was a stick behind it, and then there's also a old spike from previous bloom cycle, which I don't know why it didn't retired or didn't, that existing old spike just kind of hang around for a little bit. This orchid is not a sequential bloomer by any means, so I don't know why that spike just never went away, but I kept it anyway because I am within the school of thought that the sap inside the flower spike can potentially be reused or recycled back into the plant itself, so I kept it. And you never know, sometimes from older spikes, orchids, they do grow cakeys, so I just kind of left it. But I know eventually it'll go away, so I just let the nature take its course. I let this orchid, do its own thing, whatever it is. So this time around, this new spike gave me a couple more blooms. I think it's a total of 7 or 8 blooms. Not great, but it's not bad either. And because it's a large size Phalaenopsis, so each bloom actually is quite big as well. I mean, if you just put them side by side along with my other mid or small size orchid, you can tell the blooms are significantly larger. Care-wise, this orchid receives quarter cup every time, but because it's in bark chip medium, so if I just dump quarter cup on top of it and let the water run through the medium, it would quickly, flow out to the bottom. So what I do is at the end of the month, when I am soaking all my orchids to give them a quote-unquote flush, I will make sure this orchid is well soaked. So I think that's the time that this orchid would actually receive adequate amount of water and then last for another 2 weeks or so. But every week though, when I give water to all other orchids, I give this orchid quarter cup, no more than that. And so far it's worked pretty well. It reblooms year after year, and fertilizer, it receives quarter strength only, and that's the concentration I give to most of my orchids, 99%. There are a couple ones that I am doing experiments, so giving them 50% concentration fertilizer, but other than that, this orchid just gets whatever all other orchids are getting. And just out of curiosity, I actually went online to see try to find out this orchid's parentage, and there was indeed a lot of information. But I can tell you, it is a complex hybrid, because from all the two layers and 3 layers of parentage to make their parents, it's like great grandparents. They're all complex hybrids. So this one is definitely complex hybrid. I can only tell you this much because I ain't got time to really, go to the very bottom of their parentage to see what species this orchid may have. It's not possible. I mean, if you can find out, good for you, but I don't want to go to that level of granularity for an orchid phal or peasant phal. Okay, so overall, I think this orchid is still a very rewarding orchid. It doesn't require a whole lot of special care. Pretty hardy, and this time around I actually moved it around quite a lot just to make sure that it's well watered, and then the excess water is dumped out, but there's no bud blast. In fact, this orchid has never given me any bud blast, and knock on wood. So I would say this one is a very hardy cross, and if you see one at your grocery store, you can definitely pick one out and try it for yourself. But I highly recommend the medium-sized one if you can see it at your local grocery stores. I only saw the medium and the smaller size after I had purchased this big one, so hopefully you'll have better luck than I did. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video.